Okay, we're just going to talk today a little bit about stability and mobility. For fast bowlers, it's very, very important. So we've got Charlie here. We've photoshopped a six-pack on him as well. What we want to do with bowlers is actually see how you stand. This is sort of where you live day to day. And with Charlie, what we can see is he lives in a little bit of lumbar extension. Okay, so almost a duck arse type thing. So as his back comes down, it just curves around there, and he's got a little bit of an anterior tilt at his pelvis. What we want to do is understand this and be able to control it. So what Charlie's going to do now is some standing pelvic tilts, and then get to neutral, understand where that neutral is, and just do 10 big breaths. Okay, go for it, Charlie. So very small controlled little tilt. So all it's moving is his pelvis. Okay, back and forward, and then he's going to find neutral. Good. Now hold that. What we want to do now is concentrate on some belly breathing. So instead of breathing up into the chest, we want to breathe it out. So he's just going to take 10 big breaths while keeping it neutral, and not just through the belly, but look to expand all around the midsection. So do 10 big breaths there and really groove that neutral. Yep. If we take that forward into an exercise, this is the Bulgarian split, one of my favourite exercises. Well, it's commonly done wrong by people getting into position and then overarching the back. They're coming completely out of neutral with their spine, particularly lumbar vertebrae, and put a lot of pressure in the extensors. Okay? So what he's in a position, he's just going to do a few pelvic tilts again, get himself neutral. Okay? So when he's neutral, he might actually be leaning forward a bit. So if Charlie continues with the motion, he's got a nice neutral spine there, coming down all the way back up. So he's not fighting to come back as it's straight, because we don't want straight, we want neutral. So down he goes, all the way up, all the way down. Yep. Yeah, buddy. On a little bit more, we've got Charlie in a 4-point kneel here. So we want hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. When you're in this position, keep your head in line with the rest of your spine. So we don't want looking up, we don't want looking down, just want a nice long line. What you can do is have a dowel rod, something like that, and just make sure we've got 3 points of contact: head, around thoracic, and at the point of the pelvis. If we've got that, happy days. So then to get neutral there, it's just going to do a few pelvic tilts again. And neutral, we're happy with that. Scapula look nice and flat. Okay? So with the scapulas, this is what we want to see. We don't want to see anything raised. So he's nice and flat here. If he then tries to grab my fingers between the scapula, then you can see him start to raise here. A lot of people, you'll see this. This is not what we want, okay? So we want that nice flat back, nice curve, and then a nice neutral pelvis. A great starting position. Yep. So once he's set up, we're going to do a single arm extension, okay? This is great for scapular stability. It's only a small range, but we want to be working on your low traps and serratus muscles. A lot of the time, the upper traps take a lot of the work, and the scapula gets unstable. It's not working properly. So what Charlie's going to do, making sure he's neutral, which he has, he's going to bring his arm up straight there. That's the starting position. So now we want to cue him with fingers just underneath his scapula, so he knows whereabouts he's trying to work. And then it's just about 10-20 degrees of more flexion. Come up and down. So he's just continuing that little motion. Keep an eye on his opposite one, make sure that's not winging. If it is, say cue again. So he stops the exercise, gets back to neutral, pelvic and up top, and then goes again. There's no need to rush these. Make sure we're getting neutral and getting the work done so the scap gets that stability. Yep. If you're really struggling with the 4-point kneel, this is a good way to almost regress it a little bit. It takes out the need for massive stability around the pelvis and everywhere, so we're just focused on the scapula. So make sure they're on, the scapulas are nice and down, and a good point with this is just put the chin on the edge of the bench. This keeps everything nice and in line. It doesn't let you come too far down and they're not reaching up. So in this position, single arm again comes up, and it's just again a very small movement, up, down, making sure you can put your top hand on the upper trap. Make sure that's not overly working. It will be fine a little bit because the traps, there's 3 heads, so it will be working a little bit, but the movement comes from down the bottom. Again, you could do 10 of these and relax, and at any point, If they go massively out scapula, then cut the exercise, start again, get them to reset. Yep. Another great one for scapular stability is just wall slides. Very simple. Get them set up away from a wall, hands about 90 degrees. Okay. All they're going to do is again focus on keeping those scaps down, working around the bottom of the scapula, both sides again, keeping the ribs down as well. And all Charlie's going to do is slide his arms up, just about 20 degrees, then back down. Making sure they're not coming into extension, keeping that neutral pelvis and working and fixing the scapula just around the bottom. Yeah. So we've talked through some scapular stability. Now we're going to go through some thoracic mobility. Now this is a big area I think with bowlers who they massively struggle with. Basically, upper back you want mobility, around the hips you want mobility, around the midsection, around the traditional core, that's where you want stability. You want to be withstanding all the rotational forces. Now if you haven't got much thoracic mobility, the lumbar will try and gain more rotations in mobility, which we don't want. Okay, that's when we get into the realms of stress reactions, stress fractures, back problems, obliques, all sorts of things. Okay, this is a fantastic one to retrain your breathing patterns and get some thoracic mobility. So Charlie has got his foam roller underneath his scapula. What he's going to do then is put his hands behind his head in a prisoner stance and just let himself lean back so it opens up. At the same time, we're trying to keep that neutral pelvis. Okay, very important to keep that. What he's going to do in this position is that belly breathing we talked about, and breathe out nice and big and in. So in that position, 10 nice big belly breaths, then relax, and then do 3 lots of that. Yep. Another one we've been working on lately, in the 4-point kneel again. This time he brings one hand up to his ear. Okay, from that position the elbow is going to come out, and as it comes out we want to lengthen through the upper back. Okay, again we're trying to keep that neutral pelvis. We don't want really under the ribs working. So he's going to come up and out. Good, and then back down and through. Good, again try and keep the ribs under the ribs completely still, up and through. Nice and controlled, belly breathing at the same time. So we're looking to do 8 to 10 each side. Just keep an eye on the other side for the scapula. Yep. So one more we've got here, we're getting a little bit of the whole chain working now. So he's got one leg up on a high box, so we're getting a great little stretch in the piriformis and the glute med, glute max there. Okay, making sure you're in neutral, hands up by the foreheads. Again, just the ribs up. So this section is what we want working. This is going to be nice and stable. And all Charlie's going to do is just rotate towards the camera and back to neutral. And again, 5 times. So he's going to do 5 times one way, 5 times the other way, and then swap legs and repeat. Yep. Talk today through the lumbar spine, how we need to get neutral. We need to train in that neutral all the time. We need to get the scapular stability, really crucial for that, for fast bowling, and thoracic mobility. The exercises you see here are non-fatiguing. They're trying to retrain a pattern and get the fast bowler in a position where he can use everything in the body the way it's meant to. That way we can decrease the risk of injury and hopefully increase your pace as well. These sort of things, if you start retraining, do sort of 4 or 5 times a week and get yourself going, because you need to start doing these sort of things. Once your body start moving differently and feel different, okay? It might be a little bit strange to start, particularly things like the belly breathing, but everything here will help you in the long run. Thanks very much.